Warning.
Andor bumps one of them on the nose, which apparently kills him, so he has to murder the other one to encourage him to keep his mouth shut. Back to Morlana 1, this Boy Scout reports the murders to his superior. Clearly he's vying for the role of assistant to the regional manager. Bix's jealous boyfriend tries to follow her through the streets, probably because he looks like Alec Baldwin's thumb, and she's way out of his league. Coming back to the present day, we're treated to a toothless tweaker banging out a drum solo. The assistant to the regional manager recruits this bowling ball to go after Andor. Deputy to the regional inspector, Syril Karn gives a trash motivational speech to this merry band of glorified mall cops. Maarva pulls her best Hillary Clinton impression and kidnaps a local villager. Continuing his ballsy recruiting strategy, Luthen then destroys Andor's cell phone for fun. Bix gets arrested for being way too sexy for this town. Tim with 2 M's, the second M stands for murder victim, gets murdered by the police. He made an aggressive movement towards me. Luthen wants Andor to help with something on Aldhani. Cassian is reluctant and wants answers, so Luthen gets him drunk so he'll stop asking questions. Luthen grabs his trusty binoculars and starts creeping on a chick. Clearly this is not his first time. He then gives Andor a Kyber crystal because Disney is obsessed with that shit. Luthen then immediately realizes he fucked up.
I want it back.
Vel and crackhead Clem go for a nice hike across Middle-earth instead of doing their jobs. As he's approaching Coruscant, Luthen starts cross-dressing and turns into Mrs. Doubtfire. Clem's new friends are a tremendous influence on him as he moves up to heroin. One tweaker shows crackhead Clem how to use an iPad, but he's too high to even know where he is right now, and the episode comes to an end. He casually spies on a man bathing, and the man invites him to stare at his nipples. He tells Andor, "You can have my nipples, but you'll never have my trust." Returning to Coruscant, Mon Mothma is having a nice breakfast when her teenage daughter swoops into the room and cuts her down for no reason, calling her a self-serving bitch who has no butt. Tremaine squeezes Andor's butt and he almost blows his cover.
More, don't touch me.
The Popo run a flyby in an effort to scare the lowlifes and clean up the neighborhood. Andor, aka Clem, freaks out when one of them grabs his jelly beans. Skeen apologizes for taking Clem's meth crystal, saying, "Sorry man, I got confused, I was high." Dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire, Luthen is scanning the radio trying to hear Lizzo's new single, "I Got the Moves Like Jabba." The crew gets distracted playing with walkie-talkies instead of preparing for the heist. A cop comes very close to the girls and pees standing up to show the dominance of the patriarchy. This fat fuck can't get his belt on and he wants to beat his wife and son for pointing out his girth. Tremaine picks his ear and Skeen catches his gross behavior. The guards try and bribe Tremaine with munchies, but to their dismay, he's not high and not interested. Feeling unsafe with this many people in the room, the mom and her son put on their face masks. We return to the festival where everyone's starting to trip balls. The commandant makes some racist remark about a black man stealing from them that I won't repeat here. Then his fellow racist coworker, the radio tech, catches up to the crew and shoots the black guy first. He then shoots the only other black guy. Clem launches the escape shuttle, but he didn't tell the crew he dropped acid earlier and he's too high to drive. The acid is really kicking in for Clem. The festival goers are peaking big time right now. Mon Mothma is making empty promises to the Senate because it's election season and people are fed up with it and starting to leave. Luthen is secretly listening to his guilty pleasure music.
Come on Barbie, let's go party.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world.
He stands up for himself for once, before getting punked by a mouse droid. This attendant just can't get Miss Stick-in-Her-Butt's gender right.
Yes, sir. Ma'am. Sir. Sorry. Sir. Ma'am.
To be fair, it can be tough these days. He says he's become pretty radicalized and is totally alt-right now, even calling into question how the Emperor got that many votes. She says her husband is registered as an independent and isn't to be trusted. We learn that the real Clem was hung. Like, from a tree, not his genitals. Maarva says she's too old to move on and just wants to stay and fight with her stick. He clearly hasn't entirely kicked his drug habit and is drinking ayahuasca in the shower. He's hallucinating on the beach and seeing all these weird creatures, and this trooper can tell he's on something and questions him. Moving to Coruscant, Karn is trying to play Pong on his work computer, but he gets caught by his supervisors. This guard needs new shoes and makes the prisoners offer him theirs. The prisoners get locked into these sex chairs and that's when they really start to freak out. Andor and his fellow prisoners are unloaded, and one prisoner tries to attack the guards by farting.
Breathe deep, brother.
The guard says if the group can breakdance well enough, they'll be allowed to go free. But they fail. Karn is swiping right again, and Miss Stick-in-Her-Butt asks how the girls are looking.
Worse than I feared.
Andor is being marched down the hall, and he goes to check his hair before more people see him. The door opens, and all of the other Oompa Loompas check their hair too. Andor's drug-riddled brain can't keep up, and he's about to freak out. Everyone's waiting to see if Andor will use the toilet in front of everyone. Andor is stalling, and this guy tells Andor to take a dump already. They're getting what they think is another Chinese spam call, but it's actually Bix reaching out looking for Andor. One of the prisoners commits suicide by floor, proving in fact that the floor is lava. We start the episode with Miss Stick-in-Her-Butt cracking her gross neck. Bix throws her off by asking Miss Stick-in-Her-Butt if she's even been on a date in the last 7 years.
No.
He pulls out a pair of headphones, and then the real torture begins.
And talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. There is great significance to the passage of time.
But he's high and paranoid and freaks out when the walls start talking to him. He then does everything he can to not turn into Gollum. Back with Karn, his mother is finally complimenting him now that he's doing soul-crushing office work for minimum wage. Every mother's dream. Turns out she's into kinky stuff.
I'll have you in a cage on the outer rim.
They've captured a rebel pilot, and Stick-in-Her-Butt is jumping on the work-from-home bandwagon.
I'll interrogate remotely.
Mothma and Tay are discussing money laundering because, like with every politician, some money has gone missing. Kino just finished taking some photos for his Tinder profile. Davos says he knows she's thinking about him naked.
I'm not thinking about it.
Keith is in the bathroom trying to strip some aluminum salvage to trade for drugs. The prison guard makes sure everyone's hair looks nice.
Looks good.
The black guy gets shot because Disney is on a mission to kill every black person in this show. Andor is on a murder spree.
Kill-tacular.
He tells everyone to bust out, yo, but he straight up looks Andor right in the eyes and steals his line from earlier.
And I would rather die trying to take them down than giving them what they want.
Melshi wants to quit, but Andor motivates him by telling him there's some girls at the top, but they have to get up there quick.
They're leaving. They're leaving. They're leaving. They're leaving.
Moving to Ferrix, the fire hydrant droid is trembling as we find out Maarva has died of climate change. Keith and his new buddy are crawling around after having eaten the wrong kind of mushrooms upon their escape from prison. The creatures are becoming all too real as they're threatening to turn Keith and Melshi into the Empire for a reward. But Keith and Melshi realize it's all been in their minds, so they hop into the ship and take off. Her interrogation continues, and while it took an entire ISB investigation team days to accomplish, they were successful in making her unattractive. Sad days. Back at Mon Mothma's house, she's hitting the white wine pretty hard, and she's given up on motherhood as she watches her daughter getting initiated into a cult.
Old ways hold us. Safe in the knot.
On the other side of town, Syril's mom tells him he's got a phone call and to quit tugging on his pecker and come answer it. We move to Planet Miami, where Keith is already breaking into his old stash looking for the sweet taste of freedom and mescaline. On Segra Milo, Luthen's come to meet with Saw Gerrera, but he's a racist and doesn't trust this black guy to hold on to his stuff. Returning to the slums of Coruscant, Syril's mom is heading out to protest a new Waffle House opening up nearby, and Syril steals $20 from her nightstand. The Imperial commander's like, well, fuck. Keith makes one final drug deal and looks out over the ocean, briefly questioning his choices in life. We start off on Ferrix, where Disney has the Middle Eastern looking kid making a bomb. Of course, he keeps saying it's just a clock. This kid finishes making his clock for his school project, and he hopes his scam artist dad will be proud. We move to Coruscant, where it turns out Mon Mothma's husband Perrin is way cooler than we thought, as he has a glass full of whiskey and a gambling problem. Their driver is eavesdropping on them when Mon name drops Canto Bight, better known as the giant waste of time from The Last Jedi. We see some stormtroopers rolling by in a speeder, ready to miss everything they shoot at. Clockboy joins the procession, and everyone can hear ticking coming out of his asshole. The fire hydrant droid is motivating everyone to charge.
They'll never take our freedom!
Karn feels spurned by Dedra, who wasn't attracted to him because he lives with his mother. He flips the fire hydrant droid and Brasso gets to brawling, knocking a guy out with Maarva's brick. Hey, I guess she was useful after all. The people of Ferrix charge the Empire like there's Black Friday deals up to 80% off behind them. Tweaker Drummer gets the best kill of the season. Bowling Ball has the right idea and is getting drunk in an alley.